were to answer this question, I will not talk about facts. And we've heard here different takes on what is the factual reality between Israel and the United States. I want to talk a little bit about the perception of it. And in terms of the perception of it, there's clearly a malaise between the Israeli public and the American administration, and dare I say, even between the United States and Israel. If I were a psychologist, I would go a little bit into the Israeli psyche. And if I were to go into the Israeli psyche, I would talk about the alter ego of the Israeli public. And in the alter ego of the Israeli public, there are two main components that are part of our sense of security, of national security, and of our sense and ability to take risks in this volatile neighborhood that we live in. And one, or the first and most important component is the might, is the power, is the image, and is the deterrence of the Israeli Defense Forces. The fact that we have a very strong army, the fact that we know that if worse comes to worse, we will be able to have the upper hand because we have whom to rely on, and this is our military force. It is something that enables the Israelis to walk on a daily basis streets that not too long ago were stricken by suicide bombers. This is the fact that allows the Israelis to continue with their daily life and sit in the coffee shop in Tel Aviv, knowing that even as it was during the summer of 2006, there are Katyusha rockets on the northern part of Israel. This is a fact that allows the Israeli stock exchange or the Israeli economy to continue and boom, even though we are continuously under security threats and very heavy and serious one. But there is another component in this alter ego of the Israeli psyche, and this is the feeling, and not only the understanding. I'm talking about something which is much softer here and much more elusive. This is not knowing that the United States is behind Israel, but this is feeling it. As in any love affair, it's not enough that I know that you love me. I want you to prove it to me. I want to feel it. I want this little gesture that makes all of the difference. It's not enough that you tell me that you are giving me more aid and more security, and we've heard Dennis, and we've heard here part of the speaker. I want not only to feel it, I also want the rest of the world to know it. Because this is a trick. If the Israeli public does not feel secure with the United States, I will not say love, I will alter it a little bit and will say support. If Israel knows that we will never walk alone, this is a totally different in terms of what the Israeli public is willing as leader to take chances or to take risks towards. And if Israel feels that it has no one, Israel, again, Israeli public, okay? I'm separating it for a moment from the Israeli leadership. And if the Israeli public feel that Israel is standing alone and we have no one else to trust but our own might and our own doing, then Israel will look differently at huge questions such as Iran and at huge questions as compromise with the Palestinians. And that makes a whole difference. Those are two different worlds. So if we want, and this is a question to the US administration, when I'm looking and understanding this psyche of the Israeli public, I'm wondering where was this notion or where was this care and this love of President Obama during the Cairo speech? I'm asking, where did we see the sign of this affection, the sign of this support to the Israeli public? The Israeli public did not feel it. The Israeli public is feeling that this is an administration that maybe is backing away from the support to Israel, and that maybe Israel is left alone. Now, there are those cynics who say if Israel feels alone, maybe Israel will stop trusting that the problem to its solution will come from outside, and then Israel will take responsibility for itself and be more proactive and be more initiating policies and initiating solution to the problem. But I fear that. I fear that because I think that the malaise between the Israeli public and the US administration is seen in the neighborhood. And when we are living an era where this whole Middle East is changing, and you know, our dear President Shimon Peres was speaking 15, 20 years ago about a new Middle East. I'm not sure that what's happening today is the kind of new Middle East that he had in mind, but clearly we are entering an era where the Middle East is changing its face, and we don't know yet. We are in the midst of the process. We don't know where all of this is going to go. But clearly there is a struggle inside the Arab societies around us between radical forces and the more democratic and pro-Western forces. And if there seems to be a gap between the alliance of Israel and the United States, this is where radical forces might get in and might come in. And this is where this could aggravate the feeling of the Israeli public and its willingness to take the necessary compromise and the necessary risk to deal with the conflict in the region, be it the Palestinian, be it the Iranian, or others. I fear that this side of the Israeli psyche is something that have eluded to President Barack Obama, and I'm not doubting what he feels in his mind and in his head in terms of love towards Israel. But I would ask him, and if I were humbly to give him an advice, please make sure that this love is seen, not only felt by us, but is also seen by the countries around us, because any gap between those two is really dangerous for the security of the State of Israel. Thank you.